Hi everyone, welcome back to another catching up on daily life video. So right here, I went to go ahead and start working on the albums like I mentioned in the last video. That was the next step. And I realized some of my cards are mixed up. So I do subscribe to Lizi Studio. I have for just a few months now. Their kits are only like 10 bucks, maybe 12 bucks with shipping a month. And you get a lot of these cards and I love them. You can add on a few extra little things that you usually have sales for subscribers, anyways. So I have plenty of other stuff to use, but I do kind of get these still just for fun and to bring in some new kind of fresher stuff. And Lizi Studio is a little bit different than a lot of other companies. So right now I'm just kind of organizing the ones that I've used, the kits that I've gotten in the past at this point. And so I'm just kind of putting the cards together by color. I started to do that with these big 4x6 cards, but I'm going to change that around. And I have this container. I got this off of Amazon, I believe. What is her name? Jennifer McGuire. I think that's her name. She actually has a Project Life storage video where she recommends this as one of the containers. It's not my favorite because I don't like that the 3x4 cards are behind the 4x6 cards. So it's kind of like a meh. So I started to try it out and it's too late for me to return it really. But then I decided it's going to work perfectly for my used Lizi Studio kits. So I just got all those divided so that all the puffy stickers are by each other, all the little tag pieces are together, all the 3x4 cards, and so on. Now what I'm doing here is this is a kit that is September's kit. So both my 2018 and 2019 albums are currently, I'm working on the September. Real quick, I am even cutting down the packaging because it's this nice kind of white cardstocky material. So I decided to cut it to 4x6 because you can always use a 4x6 white piece of cardstock. So anyway, so I'm using September. I'm doing September in both albums right now. So I decided to go ahead and I'm going to start with this Lizi Studio kit from September. And it will get it used up because obviously for 2020, that's a long ways off and they might have a new kit, I'm sure, by then. So these are pictures, and you saw me start to put these pictures in the page protectors for 2018. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one kit since I have it out for September, and I'm going to add in some of the stuff from the other kits. I'm not really worried about that. But I'm going to use this kit on this September spread for my 2018 layout or book. And then before I put any of this kit away, I'm going to put these 2018 to the side, and I'm going to do use the same kit for my 2019 album. So you will see that as I go along. What I have currently, and it's taking up all the space in my room, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to get other layouts done. Whether or not I do, I'm not going to be worried about that. My main focus and goal right now is going to be to get these albums done, and I'm making some progress, so I'm quite happy about that. What I have, however, though, is my 2019 album is sitting next to me on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side, I have pulled out my folding table, and my 2018 album is on that table. So it's interesting. A couple times I have ordered, they've either had like a Black Friday sale or a clearance sale or just a really good, I think maybe $2 sale for these 6x6 paper pads. So I went ahead and I picked up just a couple of those, and that worked out perfectly because a lot of their colors go together, just like how Doodlebug has all the same color line. That's the same thing with Lizi Studios. They have the same color. So even though the whole pad is springtime based, I pulled out this yellow color because this is more of a schoolish theme line because it's September and my kids went back to school, so a lot of other kids. So I'm glad I had that though, because my one biggest complaint about Project Life or Daily Life, not so much like the Becky Higgins kits because you get like 500 million pieces in those, but I don't buy those. But other companies, I've noticed even when I was getting Scraptastic, you don't get very many 4x6 cards, and I don't know why. I guess they assume a lot of people will do full 4x6 photos in the pockets, and I love to do that, but at this point I only had my Canon selfie, and it's not true 4x6, which is the only thing I don't like about that. If it was true 4x6, I would be in heaven. I would probably print my own photos at home forever, although it is a little more expensive. So, but you guys understand what I'm trying to get at. So because they are not true 4x6, I like to mount them. Like you could see that first photo, I mounted it on that white piece of cardstock actually that I cut from the background. The second photo was a 4x6 in the wrong orientation, so I cut it down to 4x4 and added that on that yellow one that I cut out of the paper pad, which is fine with me because I did have the paper pad, and you know, so it worked out. But I don't know why companies just don't give you very many 4x6s. It's been that way forever. So it's curious, but I'm cutting these. So I mentioned in my last video that there was multiple. This is my husband's very first backpacking trip that he went on, and for me it felt really weird actually because he's been on some since then, and I was like, is this right? Is this the first one he's been on? But yeah, I'm trying to remind myself this is way back in 2018. So I wanted to add a lot of these photos, but they weren't gonna, I didn't want to take up 2 different spreads. So what I'm first going to do is take these 2 pictures of him and his buddy, and I'm putting those because they're both kind of standing in front of the trailhead place with their arms up saying, here we are. Hang on, I gotta take a drink. Sorry about that, but I could tell I was about ready to cough if I didn't. So, and then also they took a picture of the trail. I don't know if it's the name of the trail or where they're going or what, but I cut that out of the picture. And these are all pictures that I will do a separate scrapbook page. I have done a scrapbook page. It was a scrapbook prompt video, I believe, of that middle photo of me and my daughter. So some of the photos that I do put in this album will get 12 by 12 pages as well. And I focus more on the journaling for these pictures on the 12 by 12 pages than I do in these daily life albums. For me, these are just like this recap of our everyday life, and they're fun. Like that picture down on the very bottom left, it's got the date on it, that post-it note sticker on there at the moment, but it's a picture of vegetable soup that I made, and that is a soup that my grandma taught me how to make a long time ago. It's one of the only things my daughter would eat when she was young. She loved it. She still loves it to this day. And then my middle son will eat it. And my youngest son, he's on the fence, but that kid doesn't eat anything, so I don't know what to tell him. But that picture of that soup is an example of something that I probably would not have even taken a picture of if I didn't do my daily life album. I do have an Instagram account. I need to be better at using it, but I mostly just follow people on it. If I do get it up and running, I will let you guys know, but right now there's like literally maybe 3 pictures of me or anything on there. But I mean, that's like, so this is kind of like an Instagram account in a scrapbook, right? So all those fun little pictures of your feet or the sky or the bird bath, I mean, all those things that if maybe you don't want a full 12 by 12 of, that's what I put in the albums. And I've probably said this more than once, so I'm probably repeating myself, but I'm okay with that because I really want you guys to think about what's going in these albums, these daily life albums. They don't have to be these great, fantastic photos. And at the same time, if you want to only have great, fantastic photos in there, maybe a book of just your favorite photos of the year, or maybe you just want to do a book with like of an event. Like we just went to Disneyland, so you know I have a ton of photos, but I still want to scrapbook a lot of those photos. So I really enjoy the different little things that end up in this daily life album. And I think I mentioned in the first part 1 of this series was quotes that my kids say. Another thing that you might see on this one, my doctor, because he is type 1 diabetic, we go to the doctor every 3 months, and they grow, you know, it's kind of neat. It was really neat when he was going through a super huge growth spurt, was to see how much he grew, because how often do you guys take your kids? Usually for a while there, it was once a year, if that, you know. So to go every 3 months, and every 3 months he's grown another 1.5 inches or another inch, and it was like that for so long. It was so neat to watch that. So that's something, I mean, that's scrapbook worthy, but what I was getting at is right now, currently, in that bottom pocket where there's just that white piece of cardstock with some writing on it. So what they do is they take an A1C test, and basically an A1C test, if you don't know anything about diabetes or whatever, I believe they also do it for type 2 people, it's kind of like a test of the last 3 months of your blood sugars, and it gives you a range. So for young type 1 diabetics, they want them to be between 80 and 180. That's ideal. It doesn't happen, let me tell you. If you are new to diabetes, type 1 diabetes, you're you can make it happen, but you're going to have your 300s and 400s, and you're going to have your 40s and 50s. So, but that's not what this video is about. So, but what they take is the A1C, and they want that between 6 and 8 for at least my son's age. And his number this time around, so I almost always try to remember to add that in here because that's part of life that I'm documenting. So on that striped card that's on the bottom, I'm going to write today, Michael's A1C was 6.8, which was excellent, by the way, and he's officially 5 feet 9 inches at this point, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's going to say, but that's another thing. I wouldn't probably make a full scrapbook page about that. Maybe if I made a scrapbook page about his doctor visits, I might add the doctor's summary in there. But then again, if you wanted the summary from your doctor visit in here, that's something that you could put in these albums as well. That's another thing. So look around, and every little funny, anything that's funny or anything that you find enjoyable, feel free to put into these albums. Don't feel like they have to be these perfect pictures, and they have to be, there's a point when my teenage daughter was having a rough time, and there's a photo I have that's not the best of photos, and a simple little quote from my son. And we had she had a little bit of a breakdown on my husband's birthday, and what did my son say? It was funny because I just had the picture and the quote, and my son's quote was, something like, not the best birthday ever, was it, Dad? Or great birthday, or I don't know. It was really funny, but it's in the album, and when we all see it, we know exactly what happened that night, and, you know, everything that went on. And so it was like, it's documented, but I didn't have to go into specific details, you know, because none of those are important anymore, but we know what occurred, you know. And so if that makes any sense, I hope that makes sense. So I definitely like adding those little things in there. This picture of the soup was originally going to be, I think, let me get the vertically. Yes, vertically. But it wasn't going to go in this pocket page on this list. See, that's another thing I mean about having all these multiple different pocket pages, is because you have to plan your pictures out ahead of time. Unless you use just 1 or 2 page protectors, you're going to have to plan out your pictures and how you're going to print them. And this one worked out because I ended up putting it at an angle, and it turned out really good. It didn't look right to me having it going horizontally instead of vertically, so putting it at the angle was just perfect. And I'm just going to do a little bit of journaling here saying, you know, this is the soup, yada yada. So that brings me to another point that I will say in my daily life albums. If you do not like your handwriting, then type it up. What I'm pulling up here is what I do. I run my journaling, I type it up, and I print it up, and then I have a little light box that I use, and or a light pad, I don't know what you call those things, and I just gently with some washi tape, and you can see here that the washi tape actually tore up part of this card, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna cover it up with something. And I just put it down using the light pad to make sure that that printed journaling will show up where I want it to go. And I run it through the printer again. Some printers are better than others. I had a printer for a while that was one of those, and I don't know the name, the inkjet and all that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know those. You guys know me. I'm not a techie by far. But whatever one it was that only prints the black ink, but you're supposed to get like a ton of pages from, that was horrible. It would always go through crooked, and the more thick your card is, the more crooked chance you have of it going through crooked. But then we got another one recently, and this was my first time actually using it this way, and it came out perfectly, and I'm so happy because that's another reason I kind of started putting off doing these albums, these Project Life albums, is I don't mind doing all of it handwritten. I don't mind that at all. My handwriting is neat. Not neat, but I enjoy looking back at people's handwriting. However, for this, I enjoy the look of the mixed handwriting and the mixed printed journaling, if that makes sense. And what I did there was I accidentally printed or stamped out the wrong year. So I just stamped out the date on another piece of white cardstock, trimmed it down, put it over the top of the other one, and you won't even notice. So I'm slowing down the video here just for a moment, just so you can see. I'm not going to do still shot photos with these. Like I said, I'm just trying to get it done and finished. And here is my left hand side of the layout for this 2 weeks, or September 2 through 15 is what it says. So now I'm going